DND Players, what's your most crazy horror story? For my first time DMing, I made a short, original one-shot, a haunted house with a mystery, an underground dungeon, and a haunted barn. This was back in 2016. I had been asked by my roommate Jill to make something for her and her friends. She'd played once before, but apparently didn't like it because it was too battle-heavy and she didn't understand the mechanics. No problem, smash and hack isn't for everyone, and I like the storytelling part of D&D best anyway. Two of her friends, Ellie and Amy, had never played before, and one, Bonnie, was a fairly regular player with a group in her hometown. I was pretty excited. I'd been wanting to try out DMing, and at the time my roommate and I were very good friends, but she tended to hang out with these three a lot on their own. So I made a group and asked what everyone was most interested in: battles, exploring/mysteries, or role-playing. It was a split between exploring and role-playing, so I let them know that I'd make something gothic and spooky and mysterious for Halloween, and that when it got closer to time, we could get together to make characters and walk through how battle works. Bonnie: we're all together right now, why don't I help them make some characters? Me: if you want to, that's fine. We'll start at level 1, and hopefully make it through level 3. It's going to be a gothic vibe. Think steampunk aesthetic, but please stick to PHB basics. Since this is my first time DMing, I'm not ready to figure out homebrew. Bonnie: sounds great. 2 weeks passed. I made my very own crazy detailed, a little too detailed, looking back, adventure for them. Murder, ghosts, intrigue. I asked my regular group if they'd be game to help me test my one-shot, and they agreed, bringing some simple, fun level 1 characters. It takes us a little under 3 hours, and goes pretty well. I make a few tweaks, move a battle around, cut a few of the rooms and treasure details, and set a day to meet and run the one-shot. Saturday dawns, and I head down early to the game room to set up salsa, chips, a whiteboard, and my notes. I'm brimming with excitement, and ready to play. Me: did anyone have questions about characters? Not a one. That's a good sign, right? But then they introduce their characters. Jill: okay, I'm a wild magic sorcerer, half-elf orphan. Sounds good, yup. Ellie: I'm an elf named Pearl, with a noble background, I'm a paladin. Cool, sounds fun. Amy: I'm an earth genasi named Garnet, monk class. Me: wait, I'm sorry, what's a genasi? Bonnie: I'm also an earth genasi named Amethyst. I'm a child barbarian with an urchin background, and I'm messy and rude. Me: okay, so genasi aren't in the PHB, I don't really know how. Bonnie: it's just a genasi. It'll be fine. I know how to play them. So I can answer their questions. Me: how much of a problem would it be to switch races? I just don't feel totally comfortable with homebrew. Bonnie: it's not homebrew. It's canon. Me: right, but I don't know how to DM for that race. Bonnie: I can answer their questions. It'll be fine. At this point, I just agreed. I had spent some time with Bonnie before, and I knew once she dug in her heels, there was no winning for anyone. We start a tavern thug learning battle, and immediately Bonnie's character starts causing trouble. Instead of attacking the thugs, she decides to trash the tavern and steal things from Ellie's elf paladin. Fine, everyone's laughing about it, so it's no big deal. They all wanted a roleplay heavy game, and they seem to have a good character rapport. Pearl the strict LG paladin with a softness for children like Amethyst and the sorcerer, Garnet a wise monk with a peaceful demeanor, the still unnamed sweet and innocent half-elf, and Amethyst the chaotic good wild card. We make it through, battle seems to make some sense to the new players, and we head along to the haunted mansion. I set the mood with a haunted, cockroach-filled fountain and a spooky, out-of-tune piano that unleashes more roaches. There's a nerfed ghoul in a hidden lab upstairs, an awakened violet fungus pair in the mud room on the first floor, and a child's bedroom full of creepy clues and painted hounds. They kick fungus body, and they seem to enjoy ripping, though Bonnie keeps trying to attack Pearl instead of the fungus because it's funny. The other players don't seem upset, so I figure it's not crossing any lines at the moment. I make sure to toss some healing potions in the loot, to make up for it. Upstairs, Bonnie steals more things from Pearl the paladin and refuses to let the others pick locks on some chests and boxes. Instead, she crushes them with her fists, shattering the porcelain clues inside. Fine, I just changed the message on the porcelain to a message on a slip of paper inside the porcelain, directing them outside to a magic tree. Sorcerer tries to speak to it, The tree reacts by moving its roots and gesturing wildly towards a haunted maze. The roots lead from the tree into the maze. Naturally, Bonnie sets the tree on fire. Then, equally naturally, she rips the tree out of the ground, claiming that as a genasi she has fire resistance. She then sets the rest of the house on fire. Me, out of combat, why? Bonnie, I'm bored. Amethyst likes kicking body and breaking things and eating garbage. Me, oh. Well, there's a bit more combat up ahead. Bonnie, no, I'm bored. I'm just gonna go light the wheat field on fire and leave, I think. She does. I am speechless. I ask the others what they want to do, but they say they'll follow Bonnie. So they leave the estate. It's been maybe 45 minutes. As they go, they set the rest of the property on fire. I say that as they leave, all sound behind them stops. Sorcerer looks around, and sees that the mansion looks untouched, but now a little ghost girl is standing in the fountain laughing and pointing. Bonnie's character flips the girl off and keeps walking. And so ended our session. In those 45 minutes, they managed to eat all my chips and salsa, too. We never played again. I let my roommate know that I'd be happy to DM something else, a pre-made module, for them, if they were interested, but that I really didn't want to play with Bonnie again. She said that she wouldn't want to play without Bonnie, because ripping was the fun part and she wanted to keep the characters the same. She also told me I had been so rude to Bonnie about the PHB thing that Bonnie didn't want to play with me again. Okay, then. I had my normal group, so I wasn't too upset, just disappointed that I might have given some new players a bad first impression. I had never seen Steven Universe before. It wasn't until this year, when I got a Hulu trial, that I connected the dots. Amethyst, Garnet, Pearl, and an innocent, half-elf sorcerer with an unpredictable magic source? I guess now I know why she was so desperate to be a genasi. Me and my husband got into D&D around October 2019. Recently, I decided I want to DM for a group, but I am shy and have low self-confidence. Therefore, my husband said he would let me test on him. I was ecstatic for the opportunity. Fast forward to a few weeks later, I have made a world I've fallen in love with. I have tons of maps, quests, NPCs with backstories, etc. The starting town alone has 44 buildings, all with names, and most have attached mini-quests. In a one-shot about 2 weeks ago, I gave my husband a dragon egg. I figured since he's playing alone, having a dragon to help would be interesting and fun. Also, Aragon is his favorite book series. I overpowered his character by a lot because he refused to play otherwise. He also complained about many things, claiming that they didn't make sense when it didn't go exactly how he wanted. Since it was only a practice, I then scrapped that world and character. He didn't mind. However, I decided to keep his dragon egg for the real deal. Today, I finally finished my world and detailing the first session. I decided to have a session 0 of sorts. I told him that tieflings are a bit more common in my world than the lore states. This visibly upset him, and he argued that the lore is right and I have to follow it. I mentally changed a few tiefling characters into humans to avoid conflict when we finally started. I also told him that if he blasphemes the god he would be smited and take 1d6 damage. I asked if he would quit if that happened. He has a temper and rage quits things often, and he said well it depends on how blasphemous I was. I tried explaining to him that it's not up to him, it's up to the god whether or not he was blasphemous enough to smite. He didn't care. And the final strike took place as I was rolling his character's stats. He hates making characters and I cleared it with him first. I got a 13, 13, 14, 15, 15, 16. Pretty decent stats, right? Wrong. He said he wouldn't play unless he got to roll his own stats. He had no problem with me rolling them until he saw I didn't fudge their rolls, and he'd make sure he got an 18. We've made characters for other campaigns before and he always rolls an 18. I hate cheating more than anything in the world, so I told him no because we both knew he intended to cheat. Now, I have a whole world and encounters that I spent forever on and no one to DM for. Just a note, I don't think all of these people were bad DMs, I just had some bad times. In fact, many of these people taught me how to DM. So my first bad experience on the server. I was on a quest with a few other people, highest level there is 3, the rest being mostly level 1s. The quest was to clear a ghoul infestation or something. We kill about 5 ghouls then go to the main chamber for the boss battle of sorts. A vampire, a wyvern and a few ghouls ambush us, killing us in a few rounds. The DM did apologize, but left me wondering how would a DM do that and think we could survive. Next one, not too bad. There was a big war in the land and we must stop the source. We kill a few bandits and then roleplay for a bit. The DM says we stop roleplaying and get out of our bunker. We get out and fail a few con saves, most of us vomiting. We start heading to the center of the conflict and a bunch of people are suddenly inspired to help. The only thing they've seen us do is vomit, but whatever. Combat was nice, although the DM would get mad whenever I was offline for more than 2 seconds. Middle of the night for me, was a play-by-post server. Last one. I joined my last ever quest on that server. I didn't know which character to pick to use and the DM immediately answered the monk. I asked why and he said cause your other characters are trash lol. I have to admit, that kinda hurt. I saw a few people make fun of my character, but I assumed they were light-hearted jokes. Anyway, so we're supposed to transfer this really evil mad guy, and he touches my character's head or something, then suddenly my character has an urge to kill him. So we get ambushed by archers while transporting this guy, and right before we all die this cleric comes out of nowhere and kills the archers and heals us. He touches my head and says you are now healed, you no longer have that urge. I'm just thinking okay, you know I still hate this murderer's guts, right? Anyway, it turns out the evil guy was a mind flayer. So we booked it. After all that I realized that the server had started to become a chore to me, and I didn't need that in school to worry about, so I left. While I did have some really good adventures and stuff there, I'm glad I left. Hello there. If you have an interesting story, and you want it to be shared, write it in the comments section. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the video press like and subscribe for more awesome stories.